to our channel and another video. This is a little bit of a different video. We will still be vlogging this week, but we just wanted to do a little bit of a sit down talk, our journey, how we ended up in Portugal. We've been saying about it for a little while.
There's so many people, especially like doing YouTube, on moving to Portugal or living in Portugal. So we thought we'd just do a video of explaining how we got here, not so much how you do it now, because the process is different.
After Brexit, a lot of things have changed now, so we can't advise on what the process is now. We really do not know that, but we can advise on our situation and how we got here.
Yeah, I mean there's a Facebook group, expats living in Portugal, and there's a whole list of information. They're all talking about the same thing, because the people that are looking at coming over compared to when we come over, it's just different.
Yeah, lots changed, I think, in the whole process.
It'll give you an insight, and maybe you can relate as to why we come here. Maybe you're feeling the same as what we did. It wasn't an easy journey. There's actually quite a lot involved, but it's by far, for us, it's the best thing we've done.
It's the best thing that we've done. We were putting it off for quite a while. Really the same as a lot of people. We were kind of stuck in a rut. We thought that was the only way of life, and we were just living day by day, thinking this is everything. We're waiting for the weekend, you know, working during the week. And there's a lot of people in the same situation, but it is easy, and if we can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, you just got to have the right mindset, and just be aware that obviously Portugal's different, but that's why most people want to come out here. I mean,
it's not everyone's cup of tea.
No, it's not.
We didn't think it was ours.
No, we didn't. Don't get me wrong, the country's beautiful, like where we're situated, it is a really nice, pretty place to be. But for us, or for me, definitely, it's more the way they do things. Things are simple here.
It's an easier way of life. If you're wanting a bit of an easier life, and don't get me wrong, if you move over here, you do need to have some kind of income. We've worked hard. We have worked pretty much every day since we've been here, up until recently when the business has dipped a little bit. But yeah, you do need some kind of income or money from England. So you are living off Portuguese prices. So if you can get money from England or an income from England, then you're going to live comfortably here.
Just gives you a head start. In England, I've done various different jobs. I think my first job was in butchery. Both my parents were trained in butchery. Then I've done various factory jobs. So I'd done my time doing some pretty basic, you know, just labouring jobs. And then I started valeting cars, which the money was horrendous, but I enjoyed the job. Moving on to that, I was offered a job within the same company. So at the time I was working for Nissan, which was the local dealership to us. And he said, if you pull your act together, you can have a job selling cars. Bear in mind, at the time, I was very young, you know, I was a bit of a boy racer, so he probably looked at me and thought, well, he's only going to go one way, you know, drink, drugs, all the rest of it, where actually, I think I calmed down a lot when I got that job, and he really straightened me out, and he taught me a lot of valuable lessons in life, many of which I use like today, really. But, yeah, so long story short, I worked for him for 7 or 8 years, and really enjoyed it, but I wanted to do something different, which brings it into truck driving.
In your family, anyway.
Yeah, my dad's driven trucks, and my granddad he'd been in the army, driven motorbikes, buses, trucks, a lot, you name it. But at the time, Dad was doing Class 2, and there was a local company to us where we were living, just on our doorstep, which at the time. I was living with my parents, and so were you.
I was living with my grandparents.
Grandparents, yeah.
My family at this point had already moved here. Yeah, just moved here. So
from there, we started renting. So we moved to Woolpit, and on the doorstep was a truck company called Gold Star, and they were offering. Basically, they put me through my Class 2 and my Class 1 and guarantee me a job at the end of it. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to give it a go. Done the test, got booked up, Luckily, I passed it fairly quick.
You did really well.
But that's where I started to go downhill. At first, it was great. I enjoyed it. It was something new. But then you start realising, you start getting jobs where I'm up the road all week. I'm worried about, am I going to get home? You know, I mean, what's the point? What's the point of renting a house if you're thinking, well, I'm never there? So I gave that the benefit of the doubt, and I wanted to just carry on. And my dad ended up doing his class 1 and coming to work at Gold Star as well. I think we worked together about a year and a half.
Kind of picked it up for you a little bit,
Yeah.
working with your dad, seeing him or most days.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But then, as I got a bit more confident in the truck, I wanted to start going to like truck shows, which is something we used to go to all the time.
Oh yeah, we spent ages cleaning the trucks. And
Yeah.
a lot of people thought we were really sad, or I was, because I wasn't even a truck driver, but we just loved doing it together, didn't we?
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, we probably made, I'm in the truck all week, and then Lucy, I mean, I think you had a passion for just getting involved, you know, because you weren't afraid to get your hands dirty, so she was coming in either on a Saturday or Sunday.
We've been to truck shows before together, haven't we?
Yeah. I can remember I had my first night out. It was a Friday night, and I was stuck at Cambridge Services, and they said, we can't get anyone out to come pick you up for another couple of hours. And I said, well, it's getting on now, give it another couple of hours, I might as well just go to sleep and get paid for the night out. So they said, well, that's up to you, you can run in Saturday and we'll just pay you for a night out, which at the time, like, we needed the money, but I didn't really care. It was just a job. I can't explain it, but we always had enough savings where we didn't have to worry about money. But we just
routine. Yeah,
routine. Just kept the ball going. But anyway, Lucy, I'll never forget it. Lucy phoned my dad and said, "Look, Lloyd's having a night out. Can you take me out to him?" And Dad said, "Yeah." Well, of course.
Why?
She come out. Bear in mind, they're day trucks. They've got beds in them, but I didn't.
You
have
weren't that far from home.
No, it was only in Cambridge, but I didn't even have a blanket. She rocks up with absolutely nothing. So there's me and her sat on this small little bed, no food, no nothing.
I was quite cosy. I would do it again.
But yeah, that was basically my story, and I just started getting stressed, going into jobs. It's a massive wormhole. Anyone that's a truck driver out there, you either stress about it or you're the complete opposite. You think whatever happens, happens. I'm not. I worry and stress about it. But while I was doing that, it gave you an opportunity to start your own business.
Yeah. I was working for a few years in a call centre in Ipswich, so it was a little bit of a drive from where we were. Not too far. I could do it every day, but it's a lot of petrol money, and it just takes time to get there as well. And I very quickly became unhappy there. It just wasn't really for me. I enjoyed it, I enjoyed the job, but I wanted more of a variety. I wanted a little bit more in the day. I found I was doing, anyone that's worked in a call centre will know as well, you're doing the same thing all the time, constantly. And you just need to be upbeat and motivated to do that. And I just wanted a little bit of variety in the day. So after a few years, I started working in admin for a VA business, which wasn't too far from ourselves at the time. And I really, really loved it there. I was progressing, I was starting to train for management as well, which I really, really enjoyed. But after a little while, I kind of thought, I can do more with this. And I enjoyed the job so much that I just wanted to take the plunge, and it really was a big risk, but to go for myself and start my own company as self-employed. And it was only a short space of time I decided to do that. I just kind of took the risk and I jumped into it.
But you picked it up so quickly, and like I said, you evolved.
I just really enjoyed it. It was what I needed after working in the call centre for a little while, and I really was doing the same thing, just dialing numbers. I kind of felt like a bit of a robot in the end, so I just needed to change things up. So when I did go into the office, I just put everything into it, and kind of wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, and I feel like I did. I really enjoyed the job, and so yeah, I went self-employed. I'm still working in that business now. It's a small business, but it has been successful. We wouldn't have been able to come here without it, because we just needed some kind of stability and just knowing that we had a little bit of income coming in. So yeah, it did really help us out, and like I say, still working on the business now. And if you are interested in finding out more about what I do in my business, I'll drop a link. It's vasupport.co.uk. But that's what I do basically behind the scenes. So yeah, still really enjoying that line of work, and like I say, that just kind of gives us a bit of stability to come here.
You have to have stability here,
Yeah.
especially when you first come here. You need something. We were fortunate enough that her family were here anyway. We had the opportunity to move out here a couple of years before we actually did.
My family moved here, I can't think what year it was, they'll be able to tell you off the back of their hand, but they moved here a good few years before we did. Like I say,
about 5 years, man. 4
yeah,
or 5 years.
And we had just got together at the time they decided to move here. So for me, it was a solid no. I saw a really strong future in me and Lloyd, and I just thought, no, I want to stay here and live my life here and see where this goes. So we kind of stayed behind and built a life for ourselves. We were renting, and we were happy. We had a really good life.
For our age, like, we were pretty young. We've never been a couple that goes nightclubbing or we'll go down the pub and that, but we're not out nightclubbing or doing anything like that.
The latest nights we have are here at the festivals.
Yeah, that's right. But we were more interested in settling down and starting to build a life, really. So yeah, we were renting in England. I mean, our rent was pretty cheap. We had a small flat.
Well, we started renting a house when my parents first moved here. It was all kind of a rush, because literally I remember overnight my parents, I don't remember if you were there or not at the time.
What, when they sold you out?
When they first said they were thinking about moving to Portugal, and I was just like, whatever,
well,
you won't go, you've mentioned it before, blah blah blah. And literally within like a week or so, they were like, we found a house, we're moving to Portugal. And I was like, oh my God, everything's up in the air. So I too quickly really found a house for us to rent. We should have gone smaller, but you live,
much
you learn.
smaller. The house was like, it was basically the same size as my parents.
It was a bed. It was just us and Charlie the rabbit at the time.
Yeah.
It was a 3-bedroom house with a big garden, and it was too much for us. We didn't need it, and yeah, long story short, we ended up, to save money, Lloyd moved back to his parents, and I moved in with my grandparents, and they literally live a 5-minute walk, not even that, 2-minute walk. It's so close. It was ideal. We saw each other every day, and we actually had the best time of our life during that year. I would say 2 years.
Yeah, we ended up just like,
we didn't need to spend money on rent.
No, we didn't have any bills, but we were virtually falling over each other to book places to go at the weekend, just like a couple of days or a night away.
Trying to beat each other and just booking a night in a hotel. What money we were going to be spending on like a small, like cheap rent, we ended up just having a couple of nights in a hotel, and we just enjoyed that for a year. We just had a really, really nice time. We were both working during the week, and that's where we ended up. But then after that, we found, I actually think you called me when I was at work and said you had found a flat in Stowmarket, and I looked online and I was kind of like, not really
Didn't look
sure.
great.
Yeah, the pictures they didn't do any justice at all, did it? Because that was a beautiful flat. No,
it was really nice. The photos, it didn't look great, but we liked the flat. We had a really, really good routine. Obviously with the lorry driving job, it was, I mean, I'm never going to say it's fantastic money, but it was good enough money which enabled you to then start your own business. But yeah, we were renting. Our rent was £500 a month, and we thought at the time that was good. But now, like, my friends are renting in England, our friends are renting, and they're living like week by week. It's madness. We'll skip forward. You know what we were doing in England now. But we just got so stressed with our jobs and not seeing each other enough that we just had enough of the rat race, and we said, right, okay, we'll go on a holiday to see your parents.
My parents were trying to get us to go out there for so long, but the thing is, Lloyd's parents are in England. We've both still got family in England, so it was like there's a line down the middle, and it's kind of like, where do we go? But we thought, we'll give it a go. Maybe we'll have a couple of years with my family, and then we can come back to England. But obviously, in reality, you can't keep bouncing between the two.
It's still difficult now, but we've got some absolutely fantastic support here and in England. Which
we've
for
got
us
amazing family. Between us, we're very, very lucky. My side and Lloyd's side, they're so supportive, and we couldn't ask for any more.
If you want to move to Portugal, if you've got family back in England, it's something you've got to consider. Once you move here, you've got to think of the prices to get back. So whether you catch the ferry, whether you drive, but then you've also, you know, once you get back to England, if they haven't got space for you to stay, you've got to find a hotel. You've got food, you've got drink. That's what I'm saying, is that
you'll spend more during that period of going back to visit England
than what you will
in a year in Portugal. Easy, especially now.
Well, now we're here, we're situated. For me, that's one of the best things, because I really feel like we haven't got as much stress or as much pressure, money-wise.
I mean, food prices have gone up. They've gone up everywhere. But I think it gets to the point where you just have to think, okay, that's life now. Everyone is in the same boat. You're not going to change it. Food prices have gone up a bit, and luckily, actually, the government are very helpful here. And since all the prices have been rising this year, a lot of people in Portugal have had payouts to help with energy rises, food price rises, bills. Just anything that goes up, the government really do support you with that here, which I think is a big difference from England.
Yeah, and well, when was it? It was on my birthday, and I'd always said to Lucy, I don't want kids. And this will just, for anyone that knows me, this just shows how much more relaxed I am here. On my birthday, granted, I was under the influence of alcohol, but I just got up and said, do you know what, I'm ready to have a kid. And for me to say that was incredible, because I've always said to Lucy from the get-go, I don't want kids.
A few months later, out popped George.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that like virtually all my life, but I was so confident and relaxed and happy. It was the first time in my life that I'd actually felt confident enough to have a kid.
Yeah.
Like here, we'd been in England, we'd been down the bar, or been down the pub, or gone out somewhere, and I wouldn't let Lucy walk home by herself, you know.
Oh, it's a completely different lifestyle.
And having a kid, like, I wouldn't be confident of. I mean, I used to do it, you know, you go to a park or whatever, you say, yeah, I'll be back at a certain time, whatever, but it ain't until you have a kid you worry about that sort of thing. And I really don't think you'd have that worry here. Like,
you've got to remember as well, we are living in a very small area of Portugal. We are in central Portugal, and here is a very quiet, friendly place. Obviously, we can't vouch for busier places, and crime does go on, but I feel much safer here. You feel a lot safer here, and honestly, bringing George up here would be a dream compared to England. I would be scared to go back and bring George up in England now.
I don't think I'd be confident enough. But
the crime rate seems to be really rising at home.
There's people here in our village, for example, our neighbours this side and that side, I think like we were only here a week, and they're bringing around food. Like this side, they've got their own farm. I assume it's in the village, but they bring us so much food, and not just like fruit, little bits. I'm talking carrier bags. Big bags,
fruit, veg, even wine. Everyone is so friendly, and if you're friendly back, you can't go wrong. We'll take them a few things. They'll give us they've given us a lot more than we have them. But yeah, it never ends. Everyone here is just so friendly, and they love kids. Don't get me wrong, there's not, like I say, we haven't really ventured out far enough to vouch for everywhere in Portugal, but here, there doesn't seem to be many, or we've never really found any kid-friendly bars. I mean, it's not like restaurants here and pubs, it's bars and cafes, which is lovely. There's not really many that come with like a play park or an indoor play area for the kids, but the people here love kids, and it is a perfect place to bring up children if that's what you're thinking about.
There is a lot of parks, like, but
Loads
not
of parks.
like in England. You'd have like,
it's different.
like for example, McDonald's has like a play park outside, but things like that, you know. But here it's not so much.
There's not really. It's a little bit more behind here, in a lot of ways, not just this way, but there's not really many facilities in bars and restaurants for kids, but there's a lot of play parks around, and it is a very kid-friendly place.
When we moved here, how long did we live on your family's farm for?
So we started out, we lived on my parents' farm for, it was before George's first birthday, so I'd say probably two and a half years, something like that. And then we decided to look into renting somewhere, just simply because we have always liked our own space. We're very independent as a couple, and we just like doing things for ourselves. So we just thought if we can find somewhere cheap enough to rent, we didn't want to spend a huge amount because we still wanted to be saving in our head. We knew we wanted to buy a house eventually. But yeah, we just wanted to get out and start renting. So we looked at a few villages, and we found a nice house in a village called Telhado, which was only a 10-minute drive from my parents.
Something like that, yeah.
About 10 minutes, so not too far, but far enough, but you do need your own space sometimes. It was easy enough for Lloyd to go back and work on the farm. You know, I like seeing my family as well, obviously, so yeah.
And we knew the area.
We knew the area, honestly, we went to view this house, and we were a little bit and ahhing. We went on an evening, and it was so busy, wasn't it? It nearly put us off.
It's basically, it's like a traditional sort of village. There's like one street that goes through it, and you've got houses either side. But
on the first glimpse, it just looks. I don't know.
We didn't even look at the house. So we looked on the outside, just looked at the village.
No, that's not for us.
Yeah.
But then luckily we kind of slept on it for a few days, and then we woke up and we said, let's give it another go. Let's go on like a Sunday morning.
So yeah, we'd moved to Telhado, and what made it more convenience, because we don't speak Portuguese. We're still, although we've been here a little while, we're still new to the country and still finding out how things work. But for us, it was more convenience because the owner, was it the owner's daughter?
Yeah.
The owner's daughter spoke English,
yeah,
which made it incredibly easy.
Well. Yeah.
But I think if you are planning to move to Portugal and you're going down that renting side, do your research. Don't rush into it, because we paid in that village. It's the same as this one here. Everyone speaks to everyone. There was a shop there, and she spoke English, and we told her how much we were paying for the rent, and she said, "What? I can get you a house literally just up the road for half that money."
Yeah, because for us, we were going by English prices, and it really was cheap rent if you're thinking about English prices, but it's not. We're in Portugal, so for Portugal, it was an expensive monthly rate. But we didn't know that at the time.
We was happy, you know. We
were happy, and it was a comfortable amount for us to pay at the time. So we were happy with that. But when we did speak around, we could have got a house a lot cheaper. But we just had in our head we wanted to start renting, and that's what we did.
Yeah. So if you're looking at renting places,
look around.
Or even buying, look around.
Take your time.
Take your time. Find out all the information. Use a solicitor. Or anyone that can put everything in black and white, English and in Portuguese. Read through everything.
But I mean, all in all, we were happy in that house. It saw us through for a year. I don't think we'd have wanted to be there any longer because we just needed a bit more space. But it really was, for the first year of George's life, it was just a godsend because we really needed that family time together, and it gave us that. So we were happy.
And it gave us our first leap forward on being a bit more independent here, because we've been...
Yeah, it pushed us.
Yeah, I mean, we've been babied. Like, your parents have given us a place to stay. We didn't need the opportunity, we didn't need to learn Portuguese because...
For us, this whole process has been so easy because my parents done it before us, and we had the opportunity to stay with them. They already knew what they were doing in terms of residency, which we could go into, but obviously that has changed a lot now since Brexit.
Yeah. Even like down to our exchanging our driving licences, we all done it together.
We all did it together, and we all helped each other and supported each other. So yeah, we did really have an easy ride.
Pre-warning, if you do come over here and you have extra licences, i.e. I don't know if it works for a motorbike, but for me, if I wanted to keep my HGV categories on my licence, I had to do a separate test. Not a driving test, it was more of a theory. It was like hazard and perception. Nothing to worry about, but just be mindful, because we were lucky that they did tell us that, because if they didn't, I'd have lost both my licences and it cost me £2,500 to get them licences.
And this theory test was, I believe, €30.
Yes,
and you did it on the day.
Not expensive.
It took you about half an hour.
Yeah, it's the same as English. You just go to like a learner's office and
we've got a fly in here, and it's really bugging us.
There's a couple. I mean, I don't know where they come from. We haven't got the windows open. Savages. Yeah, so just bear that in mind. If you do come over here and you exchange your licences, A, it takes a while, and B, you're gonna have to do another theory. But it's super easy to book.
Definitely
and
do it.
they
It's
speak
worth
English
doing
because you'll find around Portugal, popular places like that speak English.
And especially the younger generation. A lot of the older generation, they speak more French and obviously Portuguese, but the younger generation tend to speak very good English, and it does make you a little bit lazy actually, and we're trying to push ourselves now. George is at school to try and learn a bit more Portuguese, but really you can end up relying on the locals because they do speak a lot of English. But yeah, we are trying to push that a little bit more.
We actually bought a house prior to renting it. We found a property in a village not too far away from where we were renting, but we bought it because it was extremely cheap. Needed work, mind you, but at the time we had nothing but time. In actual, I can remember.
And it was a nice house.
The picture of you standing at the top of
I was pregnant with George.
Heavily pregnant, wearing that nice dress, and I was just just sitting there thinking, that's it, I'm sorted now.
Yeah, and it was a very nice house.
We bought the house knowing that it needed work, but because it was so cheap, you can't.
It was the location of the house. The location of the house is perfect. It's got beautiful views. It's situated, and we know the village very well. It's situated in such a nice area. So yeah, we were just blown away with it. That's where we wanted to live. We had our heart set on it.
Yeah. I think after the taxes and everything, it was like 16,000, give or take.
Yeah, I can't remember the figures, but it really wasn't a lot.
But for that, I mean, not being funny, you could buy a car, that's probably about 5 or 6 years old for that money here in Portugal. Cars are very expensive, but the property's cheap. It's going up a lot more now. But this particular property, it definitely needed a new roof. At the time, we knew it needed a new roof, it needed work in the garden, it needed a new veranda. Basically, the front of the house looks new, or did when we bought it.
Yeah.
All new windows and everything, but then anything going past, it needed replacing, especially having George, or having a baby, or having you in the house. I just wanted it 100% done right.
We got an architect, we got everything measured up, we found our own architect, and we had her go in there a few times. We met up with her, and she was a lovely lady, and she really did help us out. But
basically, we spoke to her about prices, about renovating the property, the time scale. I mean, just getting the plans took 6 months alone.
This was what put us off a little bit as well, because that is one thing in Portugal. There's so many benefits, but one of the negatives is the paperwork side of things. Really does take a long time in pretty much everything. Yeah. Paperwork is just it's a really long task, and it put us off a little bit because they took ages to get the plans back to us. We were ready to get going. We were starting to have enough in this small space. George was getting bigger. We had more stuff. We just wanted to move on.
Well, we'd set basically in the time that it took from buying the house to getting the plans.
We said if we don't move forward by, for example, 6 months or 8 months, we'll call it and we'll look at plan B.
So that's basically what happened, And within this time frame, it was basically we were going through Brexit and all the rest of it. But we needed a plan quick, because renting is money in the water.
We never wanted to rent for the rest of our lives. We always knew it was a temporary situation, and we just wanted to move on to the next stage of our lives now.
Well, the whole point of moving to Portugal, once we got here, we got settled and we bought the house. Being mortgage free. We realised actually, this isn't a dream. This isn't something that you think, oh yeah, in the future I can do it. This is like possible, and it's possible now. But because everything just took so long, and then with the prices of materials going up, you've got to try and find reliable builders. And we were speaking to people about doing the work, and they're saying, yeah, it's going to take.
But people were just kind of messing us around a little bit, and
it's not the sort of money that you can go, oh, okay, it is what it is. We're talking tens of thousands of pounds to do this property up, because the property was cheap. See, we understood that basically we got told, give or take 60,000, and you can have a virtually new house, or inside a comfortable house.
Yeah.
You're still going to need to do work, but it's not. 60,000 is a hell of a lot of money, but we planned to do it in stages. So 10 grand here, 10 grand there. We'd save up. But when you actually break down the cost and how long it takes,
and how much we would be spending on rent during that time, it was starting to become out of our budget. And for us, being a small family, we really just wanted to have our own roof over our head now, and not in 20 years' time, for example. We just wanted to be moved into our own house. It's what we've always dreamed of as a couple and now as a family. And that brought us on to looking at houses to buy. We kind of were just browsing. We thought, let's have a look and see how much a house is compared to what we could be spending on this other house.
We were going through it, and Lucy was sending me some of these gorgeous properties and thinking, that's the same money as what we're paying to rent.
We were just browsing at mortgage prices, and we were kind of thinking, we might be better off doing this. The money we're spending on rent, it just seems silly throwing it in someone else's pocket so they can pay off their mortgage, when we could just get our own mortgage, and it might be the answer to all of our problems. So that's when we started looking at houses to buy in Fundão.
But we were looking seriously, like...
We started browsing, and then we soon become, I had a spreadsheet going, this is what we were doing.
Things you get sucked into it, you get more and more excited, because the houses here, like this house, for us, I feel this house is massive. This is a big house, not forgetting that flat downstairs.
Yeah.
We've only got a small courtyard, but even the courtyard's got two outhouses, which one of them is like, I would love to have that, like in England. But now, moving here, it's like a dream come true, because
it's a dream house for us.
Never,
and I'm not saying
ever
this is not
this size house.
This isn't a perfect house, and it's certainly not for everyone. But for us, this is a dream house. We're not planning on having any more kids, but we both just want George, and to put all of our focus into George. And so for us, this is a perfect house.
Well, I think what we'll do in a future video,
we'll do a house tour.
We'll do a house tour, because I think we can be open and honest. This house was up for €75,000. We put an offer in for 70, and it got accepted.
It went on straight away. It's very quick.
Yeah, but the house had only been up for sale for, I think, probably like less than a week, because the particular estate agent we used, we looked at every single house in our budget, which was anywhere between
a few out of our budget, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but that was because we were running out of options. Because we started off by saying we want a property close to Fundão, because it's our main.
We know the area.
Yeah, we know the area. We speak to a lot of people there.
Yeah.
They've got a nice park. We know they've got schools. Blah blah blah. So we were looking at. I'll never forget. We looked at that flat with a conservatory, and all these houses that are up anywhere between.
Which flat was that?
The one with that conservatory at the back, and there was that bar below it. The one that I said I've been to.
Oh, the first. That was the first property we viewed.
And that was up for 120,000.
And it was a nice sized flat.
Yeah, it was
right in the middle of town. But it was just that bar.
It was big, yeah.
It needed work as well. It did need work.
We'd lived in a flat before, so at the time we were thinking for our money, we were only going to be able to get a flat. And at that point, we sort of, in our head, we said, look, we haven't got all the money.
There are a lot of flats and apartments.
There's more flats and houses in Fundão, in that area. There's like towns and cities. It's, you know, it's like anywhere, like you go to Spain. Or
all the younger generation, they all want an apartment in town. That's what they want.
They don't want these farms.
And they're nice. The apartments here are big. They're basically just houses. They're beautiful. Really, really nice.
So we looked at it. And I think it was up for about 120, but he said it would go down quite a bit. And that was when we spoke to him about a mortgage. And he said, I can't remember the exact figure, and we thought, well, actually, we can afford that on a monthly basis. But this particular house, it had a bar downstairs, and I said to Liz, I know that bar, it gets rowdy, it's a busy bar.
And we pulled up outside, and you actually said, we'll look round this flat, but I'm telling you now, I don't think this is going to happen. And really, like, bringing George up, although there's a park like a 10-minute walk, and during the day, and even the evening, the bars are so peaceful and quiet. But they can, obviously, they have times, they all do in town, where the bars can get rowdy.
Yeah. But, so yeah, anyway, we were looking at all these different properties, and we couldn't find one that was right for us. We found another property, I can't remember what village it was in, but it was right on the outskirts. It was 40,000. Castellagio, but it was a shell, so it needed a kitchen, a bathroom, which are not expensive here, but again, it takes time.
After spending it, we visited it a couple of times actually, and we spoke to the estate agents, and we actually think we got some little quotes, because we just wanted to find out how much we'd be spending, and it worked out about 20 grand it needed spending, so it'd be about the same price as what we would pay for this house.
Yeah.
But obviously, we'd be in the same situation where we would be needing to rent during that period.
Yeah.
We wanted somewhere we could just move straight into.
And it only takes getting let down. You know, if you're coming at it, don't get me wrong, you can get some very, very good builders who are true to their word, spot on. But you just see so many horror stories. It only takes one to go wrong.
You've never done it before.
And you're paying months upon months on rent. No, we jumped into the deep end. And I truly believe when we found this house, it was fate.
Yeah.
Because
it was
so far,
it was too
everything,
good to be true.
Yeah, like I said, it was up for 75. We got it for 70.
And actually, we nearly didn't even view this house because one, we were just deflated by this point. We were running out of houses in our budget, and there was always just something in each property that put us off. And two, one thing I would say is, do view each property you get an opportunity to, because the pictures that are uploaded by the estate agents on every property, they do not do it justice.
Yeah, the main agents in Central Portugal here are pretty lacking on the photos, because this property
it nearly put us off.
The courtyard outside, it had like a picture of the floor and a set of steps, which I think we put in the previous. Yeah, we put in a previous video just how shocking it looked. Like compared, it only needed a lick of paint, but just like how bad it looked.
Considering we didn't even know that there was a property attached underneath, which we mentioned earlier, the flat, which we call it, and there was about 3 or 4 pictures of this whole house, and there's a lot of rooms in this house. There was no pictures of the views. I mean, really, to get an idea of where you're going to be, view every property that you can and look for yourself, because the images do not do it justice.
Yeah, I mean, for our budget, right? Her business, I work on farms and all the rest of it. Fine, so be it. But for Lucy's business, and even for us, like, you know, TVs, laptops.
We need electricals and even
electrical sockets. You just don't.
Even just to enjoy life, you. Where we were renting, for example, keep jumping back, but it's just to show the difference. It was odd-shaped rooms, which you find a lot here in Portugal, and and there was about 2 plug sockets. So if you wanted to move the room around,
only had one.
Yeah, if you wanted to move the room around, you just couldn't. So the living room, for example, we were so cramped because we had to have a TV here, and you couldn't put a sofa here. You know, that was just a big thing for us in general. Not everyone's the same.
For that, like where we were renting, and this is something you strongly need to consider. And for me, this is one of the reasons that I sold the house, because I knew we didn't have to do anything to it, not like in terms of the electrics. But if you do view properties, look at the electrical sockets, because where we rented, it had like one, maybe two, and we'd have to have an extension lead and then things plugged in.
And the shape of the room was a big thing for us. We wanted somewhere a bit more square, and pretty much every room in this house is square. But they do a lot of houses we viewed, and we did view a lot. They're like triangle rooms. It's really hard to explain.
Trying to set up, like, if you want a bed flat to the wall,
or a nice sofa. You really got to think about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, you know, if you've already bought properties, it might be something that you look for. But for us, we didn't. We jumped into this rented accommodation.
Yeah, it really depends on your own, like, you know, on what you want and what you need. But for us, that was a big thing.
But I'm glad we did, because that house in particular, it taught us so many things that we needed to know about if we were to buy a place to live in.
It gave us an idea of what we needed and how we wanted to live.
Oh, sorry, I had to get a refreshment. So yeah, now we're here. Obviously, we have got a mortgage on this property. We're still going through the process.
So
sign up and do
everything is complete. We've recently found that out. It's just we've had notification from the estate agents now that it is just the trail of paperwork, which, like we mentioned earlier, is a big thing here, and that's what slows most things up. So once that is done, then everything will be official. But obviously,
just got to sign the dotted basically the dotted line and sign basically giving the paperwork back to us.
It's just drawing up the paperwork now.
So yeah, that's a massive relief, because we're very lucky. The owner of this property basically said that we can move in, because obviously when we're talking to the estate agent, we said, well, we're renting at the moment. How long is it going to take? The mortgage process, and basically, I don't know if she spoke to him or what, but
they checked all of our paperwork and obviously earnings and that kind of thing. We sat down, we did have a few meetings with them, and then to our surprise, they actually said we could move in before everything was, you know, absolutely complete. And luckily for us, the previous owner of this house lives literally across the road, so we were always talking to him personally, and you know, just you know, keeping things friendly.
We're just very fortunate, because I don't know if it's like this normally, but from the 6 months that we've been in here, it's saved us a lot of money on rent. You know, we've had time. Well, I decorated the house. We've really had time to buy stuff. Yeah.
We'll start making it our own. We've still got a long way to go. No one moves into a house and it's, you know, it's there complete, everything's ready to go. You still need to make it your own, and that could take years, but it's something that we're going to enjoy working on and, you know, continue to grow as a family in this house. I'm just looking forward to making so many memories and seeing George grow up. The village, we fell in love with this village, and we will do a bit of a village tour as well, because there's so much to see here. But obviously the school, George is now settled in the school, and everything's really falling into place. As soon as we moved into this house, everything just seemed to come together for us. It's been our year. Don't get me wrong, we've had ups and downs this year, everyone does.
But you think what we've accomplished this year, not being funny,
how far we've come.
We're no different. We're literally the bog standard, a British couple.
Yeah.
And we've got, what have we done this year? So we got married. We went back to England, got married.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we were bringing up a very young child. We moved out of our rented accommodation.
Bought a house.
Yeah, like you say, the whole process.
This has been our dream. Since we've been in England, we had in our head we wanted to own a house, and honestly, we couldn't see it happening. And in the end, we just thought, you know what, we're not going to ever do it if we don't try to do it. And an opportunity came up, we took it, and we've never looked back. It's honestly, everything has fallen into place for us, and it's been an easy process. It really has. Don't let anything scare you. I mean, obviously, a lot has changed since we moved here, so I can't vouch for how to do it since Brexit and everything. But honestly, for us, it has been the best journey, and things still keep coming. Everything keeps changing, and we keep growing as a family.
But to summarise our whole experience from start to finish, we've learned a hell of a lot from our experiences from the UK and coming here. We know this decision is right for us, and I think there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this video, and hopefully you don't see it as us rambling on about our life in England and all the rest of it. I think we want to explain to others our situation. If you can relate to that and you're thinking, I'd like to move abroad, because I've got so many friends that say, oh, you're so lucky to live abroad. I'm not lucky. We're not lucky at all.
We worked hard to get here, and
you just have to take that leap.
It takes guts to do it, and we just thought, well, we didn't have any responsibilities in England. We didn't have kids. We were renting.
Didn't have George at that time.
Let's just do it.
If you're in a similar position, try it. If you need, if you want to ask some questions or anything, or whatever you want, send us a message. We'll answer it.
That's pretty much that. That's our journey anyway. The next video that we do will be a little bit of a tour of the village. We will go a bit more in depth in that, I think, because there's so many things to see. But obviously,
we got lost yesterday.
We did get lost.
And the village isn't really.
We didn't realise how big this village was, but you'll see that in the next video. As always, thanks so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Every single view, every like, everyone who subscribes, we really do appreciate every single one. So thank you for that. We hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, just drop a comment or send us a message. You know how to find us. And we will see you next week.
See you later.